Hello to everyone. This is our writers' meeting with Dr. Michael Laitman. Hello, everyone. Also, all of the viewers who are with us, hello to you and hello to Dr. Michael Laitman. Today we will talk about a few issues. We will begin with the coronaphobia, psychological, social aspects of the coronavirus. Also, we will talk about it being 20 years post our retreat from Lebanon and so on. So we have many issues to talk about. Norma, please. Norma, yes, there's a new phenomenon called coronaphobia. There are people who are afraid of going outside the home, being perhaps infected by others, afraid to even go to the hospital if they need some treatment and so on. So researchers say that there are many more victims of coronaphobia than there are of actual coronavirus. So what do you have to say about this phenomenon? Dr. Laitman, what can I say? I think that coronaphobia exists, but it's not coronaphobia anymore. There's a lot of... You have many new phenomena here. Due to this coronavirus crisis, the person has changed. The human has changed. He doesn't want to run around much anymore, to appear before people in business, in pubs, cafes, restaurants. He doesn't want to tour the world anymore. There's this reflection upon the things that happened, and following that, he made a jump forward in his advancement, in his evolution, thanks to the coronavirus, as if the brake pedal was pressed, and he starts thinking, and I don't think it's a result of the disease, it's just something more meaningful has changed. His tastes have changed. His likings have changed. He doesn't feel any benefit from all that anymore. And so that's how he sees himself. He sees that it is better to sit at home, or if necessary to go out to some business. But generally, he feels better this way, at home. Habit has become a second nature. And indeed, man was created to sit at home, to build a home, and to dwell there. And from the home, if it's necessary to go out somewhere, then you go, but no more than that. We need to see how our world is changing in that direction now. Everything is becoming more inner. A person doesn't need to go outside to see, to feel, to show himself to everyone. He wants to feel things more internally. It's a change that we're not really experiencing in its full power yet, but it's the beginnings of a great change that is coming. And we will see that those of the next generation will not be running around so much, flying everywhere, roaming, touring every place in the world. It will be completely different. They won't want to do that. It won't be attractive. He saw everything that there is to see in externality, and if he didn't, then he can see through the internet, television. It's not something that's missing anymore. So it's not a fear of the virus, it's just that there's no more taste, no more flavor in going outside of the home. You have periods like that. It's the same with children. They develop, they run around, then they do something else. So it's the same with us. We ran around, and now there's a new period in our development. So don't think this will pass if each person has some cure for the coronavirus in his pocket. That's not what it's about. It's a new time, new age. Noma. So this is a problem, something that existed within the person, and the coronavirus was only a trigger? Dr. Laitman. Yes, we sat at home, it made us sit at home, and suddenly we saw that sitting at home, that's a pleasure, it's good. I can go outside for lack of, if I don't have any choice, any alternative. But I feel much more drawn to return home, to being home. Noma. But we're told that coronaphobia right now is actually killing people because people are really afraid, and this brings about all sorts of problems and outcomes. Dr. Laitman. Okay, so we have things happening in this direction, in that direction. I'm talking about the middle road. There are those who are afraid of the coronavirus, not going out, or going out with great fear and trepidation. There are those who go out and don't care about anything. Even during the main wave of the coronavirus, they still did that. But no, I identify a more inner phenomena here. Noma, how should society take care of this? Dr. Laitman, I don't see any problem. I don't see any problem in this. It may be that a cure will come very quickly. However, alongside that cure, we may get new viruses. Right? There's plenty of those, but again, it seems to me that this is a phenomena that emerges from within the person. The human being has changed. Judy, so if a person is suffering from coronaphobia, he's afraid of contracting the coronavirus, so how do you lower his anxiety? It's not good for everyone to just remain at home. There are people who feel actual fear. Dr. Laitman, no, I'm not talking about those. Those who feel good at home, and it's good. I'm talking about those who want to go out, but because of the fear, they cannot. They're limited. So for them, you need to create a cure or some exercises they can do, something. Duty. Okay, so regarding what you just said, on Facebook, people write we haven't exactly jumped forward, as you say. It's more like a prison. It made people stay at home not of their own desire. Dr. Laitman, why? Why feel it's a prison? I know many people, reporters, writers, scientists, all sorts of people like that who are sitting at home, or at most they have some workplace they go to, so it's only the workplace and home, the workplace and home. What else do they have to see? This whole mess of noise and smog that's everywhere else? Duty. Well, that's not good for everyone. There are people who have this character, and there are people who don't want to sit at home. They can't. Dr. Laitman, yes, but this is the calling of the times called. The times are changing, and also the person is changing, people are changing, and we're coming to a time where the majority of humanity will understand that sitting at home, it's not a prison. Noma. But it's not good to live with fear. Dr. Laitman, I'm not relating it to fear at all. I'm relating it to the nature of the person who will want to remain home rather than to go out, walk around the street and look for some income or something. I'm saying that human nature is changing. Also, it has nothing to do with our social development. Nothing to do with it. It seems to me that this is a certain time, a certain era now coming to us. Duty. There's a question here. How can a person do good to others, to the society, to the public, if he's just sitting at home? Dr. Laitman. He will work on whatever he can. He will work in whatever way he can make a living. Why is that a problem? We're coming to a state where 60, 70, 80% of the public will be unemployed. Their work will be only to study, to learn how to do good to others, how to build an integral society. And everyone will work they will do social work. They will work on the connection between people, on how to connect everyone together. That is the work that everyone needs. What do you want them to do? To open more pet barber shops or other such things? On every corner of the street, you have a barbershop for dogs. Is that a profession? Is that the... It's over. Dudi, I want to understand the approach. You're saying that now we need to get accustomed to living more and more at home, in the home, or that it's a period that will change, that will end. Dr. Laitman. No, I'm not saying. I'm saying that I think this will be. There will be a tendency, a general tendency, a trend, let's call it, of doing that, staying at home, working from home, through the internet, through the communication lines. Although it may be comfortable, convenient, it may not be convenient, but ultimately it's worthwhile. It's preferable. If the infrastructure can be developed and be unlimited, then why do you need all the offices that you drive to every day and drive back home? And why to separate a person from the family? Why? Who makes a profit off of that? Who enjoys it? The businesses, well, those offices, it's very good if they're virtual. It's much better. Duty. So, this meeting we're having now, wouldn't it have been more convenient for you, better for you to do it physically? You can see all the facial expressions better and Dr. Laitman, I see 11 images, 11 characters in front of me. Right? 11. And I don't feel that I'm deficient in any way, that I want to see you here in front of me. We have to get used to seeing each other in a more clear way, more vivid way, but what's lacking really? I understand that we're human beings and we're used to a different way. We're used to it, but I see people watching movies and they cry, they laugh. They're more impressed by the movie than regular life, right? So it's not about seeing something from a screen on a monitor or without being in the same physical place. Dudi, where will connection take place between people if each one is at home? What kind of society can be built? Dr. Laitman, the connection is in the heart. and it's not about one physically being next to another. The connection is through the heart. I'm not talking about a mother and a baby, of course, and things like that, or inside the family, where there's a different kind of closeness, possibly. That's also a question, but just like that, people, with respect to their workplace, on occasion, yes, you can, let's do some big meeting every month or something. That's how it seems to me. I don't want to make to determine anything for you. I'm sure life will do it for me. Dudi, can you expand upon a society, an integral society with connections that are felt through the heart? What is that? Dr. Laitman. It's people who don't have any special connection between them except for the fact that they understand that they must have a mutual connection between them, because only in that way each one of them and the whole society can find success in any area of life, any field. That's it, because that's the calling of the times. We've come to a stage where everything becomes more round. The world, language, the internet, you have everything connecting people except for one thing, the inner connection. So it will come from more external stages, inwards and inwards towards an inner connection. That's what we're approaching now. We have to achieve it. And we have to implement it. Dudi, so you said that we're entering this kind of constriction, this kind of confusion. You said it in the morning lesson. So you said that the world won't return to the way it was before the coronavirus. But you also said that this particular process isn't a long one. There are other processes, but this one is not long. So what's happening? What happens at the end of this process? Where does humanity need to get at the end of it? Dr. Laitman, humanity will go through several stages, culminating ultimately in it being able to, digest the integral message. That's all. It needs to reach a state where we must be connected together. That's what it requires, nothing more. But in a way where without that we cannot go on existing. And I'm not talking about an international war that may erupt or something like that. I'm just saying that humanity has come to a stage where it won't agree with it anymore. It won't allow.
המצב של האנושות הוא כזה שזה כבר נראה לי שאנחנו אחרי זה. אחרי איום מלחמת העולם העולמי.
ואפשר לשאול על זה?
כן, נורמה, תשאלי, אני סיימתי.
לגבי קורונופוביה, מדובר על פחד על-טבעי. אנשים לא מסוגלים לשלוט בזה. אז מאיפה בן אדם צריך לקבל ביטחון בחיים?
אדם בדרך כלל מקבל פחד, חוסר ביטחון, מדברים שהם לא ידועים, שלא יכול לשלוט. אבל אם יכול לשלוט בדבר הכי גרוע, אז אין לו פחד. כי יש לו איזה כלים ביד. כמה שאנחנו יותר ויותר מכירים עם הקורונה וירוס הזה, אפילו שיחזור בעוד מכה, בעוד וירוסים, כל מיני וריאציות אחרות, זה לא כל כך חשוב. אנחנו כבר יותר ויותר מתרגלים לזה. זה לא בשבילנו משהו הלא ידוע ונופל ופתאום.
It falls suddenly. You build devices, you build such hospitals, You know what to do with the elderly, with babies, with everyone. We become more experienced. So there's none as wise as the experienced. And this experience, this wisdom, it really helps in calming us down. So I don't think that we will have a problem. There will be problems involving viruses, of course, we will see in the future, but each time we will overcome the blow through research, developing cures. But what's interesting is to see how the society will each time receive another kind of deflection towards a different direction every time. So here, with the coronavirus, we were deflected towards a very good direction, an integral world. The world received a general blow, a general punishment, and that's something new. And we perhaps don't feel it so much, but the Orthodox, the people got their own problems, and the secular ones, also the Arab population. If I'm talking about the nation of Israel, right? If it's a blow that came to us from the upper power, it calms everyone down, it reorganizes everyone, and that's good.
Ken.
Shelley.
Yes. Shelley, regarding the new social connections, our social connections today are my friends from work, my friends from the dance class, those people. We have many groups of friends from outside. And if we're going to a stage where we're just at home almost all the time, almost never coming out, what kind of social connections will you have in the world?
Dr.
Laitman, so you have social connections, you have people you go dancing with. Shelley, yes, you have people who go to work, they study together, they dance together. You have all sorts of these content groups, let's call them, in life. And if all this externality disappears, Dr. Laitman, why disappears? I'm saying the opposite. We're entering a state where the society is integrally connected through many different connections. Yes, but it's not that these connections will be a new business. You won't be able to make a business out of them. You'll have time to engage with such small groups, sports or something, some art, something like that. Shelley, I'll sit at home and do it through the internet? Dr. Laitman, who said that? I'm just saying that people in general are now becoming more inclined to sit at home rather than to run around. You will see it happening, right? You will see that this is what we will see. This is how people will behave. Other than that, all the businesses will take a more inner form. They will be more. It'll be only things that people actually need. You won't have a barbershop for dogs on every street corner because there won't be money for it and there won't be any draw. Shelley, okay, so I happily concede or give up the dog hairdressers, right? But I can also say that I was very happy to go outside. But okay, but there's this warmth between people that you can't get on the Zoom platform. Dr. Laitman, I'm not a dictator. I'm not just dictating this to the society. I'm just saying that we will see society moving in that direction. That's it. I'm not making any decisions here. I'm just telling you this is how I see things working. Also, it has nothing to do with what I present. What I present generally is integral education, because 80-70% of people will be unemployed. They need to get new work to do, meaning to build themselves up, to build the society up as an integral society. That's it. That's what they will need to do. Duty. Okay, so we're done with the first issue. We don't need dog barbershops. You can, Dr. Laitman. But I'm asking you, please, don't make of me. That's not what I meant, right? Oh, I mean one thing. I want to divert your attentions towards the fact that people outside won't have work to do. Many offices will prefer to become virtual offices, and also people will have more work to do in social matters gradually. The nation, the society will have to provide work for them, and also scholarship, respectable scholarship. Chaim, can I ask about that? Yes, so it follows that the concept of unemployment, well, that will be abolished. Dr. Laitman, there won't be any unemployment. Everyone has to busy themselves with the construction of the integral society. Chaim, so either he will do some essential work or working on building the integral society. Dr. Laitman. Yes. Clear. Okay. Duty. Let's continue to the next issue. Guy, please. Guy. So I want to mention, with respect to virtual connections, well, my lab in the university was closed because of the coronavirus, and we started doing all of our experiments through Zoom. And what happens now is that we get people to talk over Zoom or over the internet, and we find very strong feelings emerging of connection and so on. Even people are very thankful after the experiment for being part of the experiment and so on. So I see that the virtual connection, it not only that it didn't hinder our work, it even made it easier. Logistically speaking, it's better. Now we're doing an experiment this week about if it's possible to lower the feeling of loneliness through this. So I see that there are very powerful effects emerging. And in that context, there's a survey now. All the data is now coming from the coronavirus period time. It's about the social strength in Israel, social fortitude. Many people in Israel reported loneliness, anxiety, depression, and these effects are even more pronounced in people 65 and over. So we talked with you about all these emotions, but my question is, today everyone are trying to return back to their daily routines by any means. My question is, what will happen when a person understands that the daily routine doesn't exist anymore? Dr. Laitman, we have to teach people to live a virtual life through the screens, through the computer. Everyone has a computer, almost everyone, let's say. Everyone has a cell phone almost. So they need to know how to be connected to everyone through the screen, through the keyboard. And no one should feel that he's lonely. I don't exactly understand the problem. If a person has 20, 30 people he knows, if he's connected to them and not only them, but some guide as well, some instructor. He has a society, and it's certain that he can be with them in constant communication, contact. It all depends only on how to organize, right? How they organize. Guy. So it may be related to what you said before, namely that the corona only disclosed something that existed already. So we know that loneliness is caused not by, it's not about how many people there are in one's environment, but rather it's about how many meaningful connections a person has. So the coronavirus just made all of that float up. So I want to talk about uncertainty, though. How can we give a person a feeling of confidence, security, that he has some anchor, some backing, social backing, in case he falls, if he needs any support? Dr. Laitman, that's what we want to establish. That's what it's about, to give each one a sort of anchor, to make everyone feel that they're parts of an integral society, and that in this way everyone can exist in a good, happy, comfortable way. And we will see also then how much it contributes to health, social fortitude, and so on. Okay, this is exactly in line with the research, with the study that we want to do, what we've been talking to you about. So we're talking about now about the social situation in the nation. It was found that the coronavirus causes more factions are forming, and people are starting to blame each other more, and the coronavirus caused more negative feelings towards the outgroup, right? So how do you feel the coronavirus affecting our social fortitude here in Israel? Dr. Laitman. Well, Israel is a special state, a special country. In every nation, you have factions which oppose each other. Nothing less, no less than you have here. But I don't know what to tell you. I think there is a big problem here, especially between the Orthodox and the non-Orthodox. It's a very big problem. And I remember 40, 50 years ago, I used to live here, and I felt that the religious part had nothing to do with the nation. You didn't have any religious political parties and so on. You had Mafdal or something, but there wasn't this much friction or even closeness on one hand, and contrariness, opposition between the Orthodox and the secular people. So I can't tell you what to do about that. I think that if it'll continue as it is now, it can bring about a civil war between the religious and the secular. And ultimately, we will get to a state where we will need to divide the country into areas, regions, territories. You have that already to an extent in Bnei Brak, Jerusalem, and various such places. Also, we'll have to separate religion from state. If you ask me, I can't say that I don't see this as something that may that may happen in the future. Duty. So you don't see these two sectors creating a bridge, but rather you see separation. Dr. Laitman, no, there can be no bridge there. There's none and there won't be any. No. Duty. So the correction for this situation is to separate the two groups? Dr. Laitman, yes, separation, complete separation. The hatred will grow. You see it when they meet. When you meet face to face, you see how these things, how there's no compromise that can be made there. It's a very deep-rooted ideological matter. And neither side has any proof. It's just both sides are fanatics. There's another question from the internet on this. Do you see the Arabic sector also separate from the Jewish sector? Dr. Laitman, that's less of a problem because there it's more of a pragmatic issue. It's the Arabs, if you give them everything they need, then other than some small extremist sector, you can get along with them because they wish to live, they want to live well, they want to live with security and confidence. And if you give them freedom of religion, the ability to make a living and everything else that's necessary, besides that, you can also arrange for them some land which won't belong to the nation of Israel officially, and so on. I don't think that's a problem. The problem is more about the Orthodox and the secular Jews in the nation of Israel. Duty. Okay, so this is a very fascinating subject. I'm getting many questions. I don't know how deeply to delve. So, separating populations in an integral society, doesn't that conflict with the trend of nature? Dr. Laitman, look, you cannot have such a society with the Orthodox because they have their own frameworks, their own structure. It's only the secular Jews who will have a need for the integral society. Duty. Okay, I'd like to continue to another subject, another issue, our third. So the holiday of Shavuot, the tikkun of Shavuot, we're fast approaching Shavuot. It's this weekend, the holiday of the giving of the Torah. And I want to ask about what's the correction that the Torah requires of us as individuals and as a people now at this time. Dr. Laitman. It's very simple. The Torah is called the reforming light. As it is written, I've created the evil inclination, I've created the Torah as a spice because the light in it reforms one. So the Torah requires us to offer vessels for the light of the Torah to come and correct. Because the Torah is the light that corrects, makes good what's in a bad situation, in a bad state. What's bad is the relationships between us, our ego, human nature. We need to discover it and disclose it on a personal level, on a national level, on a global level. And we need to know how to draw the reforming light so that it corrects our ego and turns it to good. Reforming it means to make it good. So that's the work we have to do. So the holiday of Shavuot is a very big, very special holiday. Celebrating the time when the fact that we received a means for the correction of human nature, the nature of the Jewish people, the nature of the whole world, and the whole of reality, such that it all adheres to the Creator. We received it from above, or more correctly, as Baal Sulam says, there was a giving from above, but no receiving from below, no actual implementation of it. And that's what we need to do, and I hope very much that we're fast approaching this. Duty. So what is the place of the Jews in a world that is contending with this pandemic now? Dr. Laitman, the Jews need to understand that the pandemic and all the blows that the world receives, all of that is meant only to hasten us in our development. We need to come to a state where it's clear to each and every one of us that it's us who are at fault for everything that happens in the world, and the nations of the world are right in blaming us for everything. And the correction is such that we come closer together, and through the connection between us, we draw the reforming light, and this reforming light will correct our ego and the connection between us. And then when we're a bit better connected together, the light, the upper light, will be able to be bestowed upon the nations of the world through us, to influence the nations of the world, and in that we will be a light unto the nations. Duty. In order to receive the Torah, does there need to be mutual responsibility between all the Jews in the world to the very last one? Dr. Laitman, no, not even half or a quarter. Each group of 10 in the people of Israel, well, I call it 10 groups, small or large groups in the people of Israel, if they can form a 10, be connected together, then through them the upper light will be able to affect the rest of the Jews, and through the Jews it will be able to affect everyone else. So we need to make connections between as many people as possible. That's our destiny, that's our purpose, that has to be our profession. When we do that, we are called Yehudim, Jews, from the word Yehud, or unity. We can unite and unite others. In that, we can be a light unto the nations. Shelley, you wanted to ask a question? Shelley, yes, so everything we talked about in the beginning of this talk, the changes that are happening to humanity following the coronavirus, how is that related to the issue of us having received the Torah and not putting it into practice? What does this have to do with the holiday now? Dr. Laitman, because we're not using what we received as it is written, what God made for us to do. Right? So this negative part, being the part we had to work on and that we didn't yet, well, it's the same like with every, let's say, disease that you neglect, that you don't treat and you don't take care of. It manifests as, in our case, the coronavirus, in a different case, something else perhaps, but this is the cause for it. This is how all the troubles come to us. Shelley, so the occasion of Mount Sinai still haunts us, right? We think it was some historical event that ended there, but we're actually living through its repercussions now. Dr. Laitman, the occasion of Mount Sinai hasn't ended because Mount Sinai means that we received from above the power of correction called the Torah. And so it's an eternal matter through to the end of correction. Whereupon we receive the whole Torah, the whole Naran Chai, and it clothes in all the vessels, Kachabzon. Rav, I want to ask, one of the concepts identified with Shavuot is the correction of the world. Yeah, it's correction in general. It's mentioned much in Shavuot. So what's the connection between the correction of the world and the correction of humanity? Dr. Laitman, it's the same thing. Judy. Okay, so what's the correction, actually? Dr. Laitman. Correction means to bring the whole world, the inanimate, the vegetative, and the animate degrees, under the control of the speaking degree. And that degree causes all of the corrections, makes all the corrections through its intention to bestow. And then, even as it's written, the sheep lived with the wolf. Duty. So what you just mentioned, that's the correction of the world and the correction of humanity and all that, it's the same for us, yes? And what's the correction of Shavuot? Dr. Laitman. Yes. So it means that the light that is ready for us above, we are now ready to receive below in our vessels. And that light then enters the vessels and corrects them. The night of Shavuot means that at night, in the darkness, when we discover how much we require, we need the correction, we draw the light at midnight, actually. And that light is the light which reforms. Dudi. Okay, so on to our last subject. Thank you. Sivan, please. Sivan. Yes, so today we commemorate the 20-year anniversary from the retreat of the idea from Lebanon. So there's a movement called Four Mothers, an organization that was engaged with the soldiers there and the retreat from Lebanon. It was a protest movement, and people sometimes were angry about it. How can it be that women have to do with security issues? What do they have to do with it? But apparently it led to us retreating from Lebanon, at least in parts. And I remember my mother was a part of it. She went out to demonstrate. It was serious business. So I want to ask you, what kind of organization would you like to see from women at this time? Dr. Laitman, I don't want anything to do with this question. No. That's it. It started when I was in the army, in the IDF, before the 80s. The problem is that every housewife who has a throat and a broom in her hand becomes a soldier. And that's not good in a country like this one, which is encircled by wolves. And to have such mothers, such ladies come out and shout, it's not their business. It's completely not their business. What can you do? War is war. We left Lebanon and we lost so much after that. It's much worse. It was much worse than if we would have stayed there. So I don't even want to talk about this. I feel bad just thinking about it. How this stupidity causes damage. I cannot respect this. You can say many things and bring me pictures and talk about all sorts of things that happen. It doesn't matter. It's not the business of the woman to interfere there. Mothers and war, well, sit at home and cry. That's all there is to do. Jewish women, when they leave the family nest, they become so prideful, so aggressive, so forceful that it's... her power is in the family, not outside the family. When they go out to the street, that's not good. That's for certain, I'm telling you. If you see women on the street, nothing good will come of it. Whatever you may say, whatever the case, I'm telling you this also with respect to the future, through to the end of correction. Duty. Okay, so regardless of what was good or bad, what can women do as a positive force to Dr. Laitman, only connection within the family and between families for the people, but not to decide if to go out there, to go to war or not go to war, to decide these things. Duty. I see that everything that has to do with protests, you disrespect, right? I see that this approach is something you don't like. Dr. Laitman, well, I don't like it. Yes, well, there's no choice really because there's a whole mess in the whole country, in the government, so it seemingly becomes legitimate and one of the means for political pressure, for exerting political pressure. But as a principle, you shouldn't ever have that. In the corrected way, you should have a representative in the parliament. You have this political party, that political party. I understand that there are many opinions and many concerns, but it needs to be there, and not by going out to the street and shouting and running amok. There are things that you don't know. There's a pressure that comes and gives power to such forces in government. It gives them power and they can start making decisions and determining things. Let's say those mothers jump up and then some hothead in the government starts manipulating things with that as an impetus, and then we lose. We lost Lebanon, we lost many things. We allowed Hezbollah to become very well established there and all that, and since then we've seen nothing good, no good result. And how much did it cost? Victims and so on, and dead. You can thank all those mothers. Duty. Yes, but you say that women should lead to even form a political party. Dr. Laitman, only for the purpose of connection, of social cohesion and connection, only that. And if it has something to do with anything else but for connection, that is politics and that is not good. Duty. Okay, so that is pretty clear. Sivan, if you can complete the question. Sivan. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. What I'm saying is, how can we make this difference from home? And you say that, and it's so true. A woman feels things from within, inside. We sit now and we see that we want to create a very meaningful social change without shouting, without riots. Yes, those things are inappropriate in a way, but how do we unite our forces? It's a feeling that you have a desire to do something, but you don't know what to do with all that desire. Dr. Laitman, to organize together, but in a good way, only for the purpose of connection. A woman sits at home, dwells at home, it's written. So the whole nation is also the home. You need to work for the home, for connection in the home, in the nation as well. So organize together, do whatever you want. Whatever organization, whatever connection, we will all support it, but only for the purpose, for the sake of connection. Nothing else is good. To go into the business of war, I also don't talk about it. I remember Lebanon. I used to go on, we used to bring all the tanks from Lebanon to here, to go down from the Ramah. Now, it's not the business of soldiers, and that's not the business of mothers, because we don't understand anything. We don't understand anything of what's happening there in the war. How can I say? I was engaged with the airplanes, with the fighter craft. I used to work on them, so I heard a little bit of what's happening. You have all sorts of factions who think different things, and they don't know much, so how can they interfere? It's only those who are in government, according to their security classification, right? They get briefed and they actually know what's happening, but this is a completely different level. Also between governments, also with the enemy. You hate them, but there's also interaction, there's talks going on which nobody knows anything about. How can you go out to the streets and it's not appropriate for a woman, it's not appropriate for anyone. It only attests to stupidity. And all that happens ultimately is that they pressure government, they tie the hands of government, and they don't allow them to do what's necessary. They don't allow government to do what's necessary. And this was very clear from that war in Lebanon, the first one. We were already in Beirut, right? And everything was good and nice and we could have remained. What's the problem? Not that we would have conquered Lebanon, no. But they would have agreed for it to be that way. I know this because I was there.
Okay. Norma, בבקשה. יש לנו עוד שתי שאלות.
Judy, okay, Norma, we have two questions left, so please. Norma, so with respect to Shavuot and what we're talking about now, the situation in society and the work of women in the society, and I also would add the work of the men to that, so society as a whole. The question is, you're talking about the correction of the world, so how close are we to that correction? Because there's this feeling that we talk about it every year, but the situation only deteriorates. Dr. Laitman, each one of us can measure his closeness to the correction. It's about how much room I have in my heart to love everyone else. Noma, so how do you see the society, the world? Are we advancing towards true correction? Dr. Laitman, each one should examine himself. Each one should examine himself.
Guy?
There is great work to do here yet, of course. Yes, Guy. Guy. Yes, we're skipping around subjects today. I want to return back to the subject of social fortitude with respect to the individual as well. We ask you much about fortitude. It's a very important component of the method we want to scrutinize. So my question is, when you hear the word fortitude, we want to create a feeling of fortitude in the person, psychological fortitude, physical fortitude. What is fortitude for you? Dr. Laitman, fortitude means that each and every person in the nation feels that he's the equal of everyone else in terms of his income and his rights and his duties. And this is how each one sees everyone else as well. And there's no room for competition other than in terms of who adds more to the connection. Guy, and in that state, where do I get the motivation to act if there is no competition? If I'm the equal of everyone else, where do I get motivation from? Dr. Laitman, from the society, because the society honors that, respects that. You have it all written down in the writings of the last generation. Guy, so externally, I'm the equal of everyone in terms of income as well and everything. But what do I feel inside as the fortitude? What is the fortitude that the society gives me? The feeling of it, Dr. Laitman. It's because each day we add more to our understanding of society, our closeness between us, men and women and children. We make sure that we have tighter connections and bonds between us, and due to that, we start feeling that our society is closer to the ideal society, the global society. And then, well, let's show everyone that we're the best, the most successful. The coronavirus doesn't harm us. No, nothing bad happens to us. No blow. The locust, right, doesn't even enter the land of Israel. Show everyone, and it's not far off it's not far-fetched. Show everyone that these Jews are simply succeeding. the people of Israel are successful. It's really no evil can befall us. Guy, so that fits the definition of national fortitude, as we call it. So last question, because we're running out of time. So today, the definition of psychological fortitude is the measure to which I can recuperate fast from crisis, where I know how to land on my feet and the falls don't break me. Is that how you see fortitude as well, or is there something more deep here? Dr. Laitman. Yes, what's deeper is the spiritual definition, Guy. But corporeally, Dr. Laitman, corporeally it's simple. It's the extent to which we're connected together, integrally, as equals. To that extent, we are connected to the external nature, which is entirely integral, and then nothing harmful can touch us from any level. We enter a state of confidence, security. It's a kind of insurance against every possible danger. Duty. Our time is over. Dr. Laitman, thank you very much for all your time and all of your answers, despite us skipping from topic to topic. Dr. Laitman, I actually enjoy very much being with you. Duty. So we will meet again next Sunday, because this week we have the holiday of Shavuot. So we will implement all of that and we will achieve the correction between us. See you next meeting.